If you have ever come across a stack of negatives, you know how hard it can be to try to figure out exactly what that picture is. Just holding that negative up to the light, it isn't always easy to see what that picture really is. Well, I'm going to show you how you can turn that negative into a positive just using your iPhone or iPad. There is something important that we need to talk about. Whenever you are handling a negative, make sure that you're handling it just by the edges. You don't want to touch the image itself because you could leave fingerprints, you could grind dust or dirt into the image, or you could even scratch it. That could end up ruining that negative. What you're going to need to get started is some sort of light, whether that's a bright lamp, a sunny window, or my favorite thing to use, which is Google. The Google homepage is mostly white. So just turn up the brightness on your monitor and boom, you have an instant backlight. Now we need to get our iPhone or our iPad set up, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. First, go into Settings. Then you're going to scroll down a little bit to Accessibility. Tap that. And then go into Display and Text Size. And scroll down a little bit. And you can see on my iPhone, I have both options for Smart Invert and Classic Invert. Now, if you're running an older version of iOS, you might only see Invert. And if that's the case, that's the option that you want. But if you're running a more current version of iOS like I am, the option that you want is Classic Invert. I'm going to tap this and check it out because it's going to start to get a little trippy. So I'm going to tap Classic Invert. See, I told you it was going to get a little trippy. You might be wondering, how is this going to help us view those negatives? Well, when you are in Classic Invert mode, not only does it change the display of the background of your phone, it also changes how your apps are displayed. So when you open up your camera app, and my camera right now is pointed down at my desk where I have a little to-do list. And I'm going to open up my camera app, and you can see that notebook is showing up as a negative. So now with our iPhone or iPad set up in that Classic Invert mode, now we can go take a look at those negatives. Let me get set up and show you how it looks. So here I have the Google homepage set up, and here's a negative that I have. Move it in a little bit so you can see it. And it looks like a girl with maybe a box in front of her. Well, I have my iPhone set to Classic Invert, and I have the camera app turned on. So let me slide that in here so you can see. And you can see that that's actually a girl, and I recognize that cake pan. That's actually the cake pan that we use for all of our birthday cakes. That's actually me on my birthday. This method also works with black and white negatives. Here's a negative I have of 5 people sitting together on a couch, and maybe a couple people reflected in a mirror above them. So let me move this away so I can move in my iPhone that I have set to Classic Invert, and I have the camera turned on. Now I can identify that that's my grandfather, his second wife, her mother, her sister, and brother-in-law. I don't know the 2 people reflected in the mirror, but I'm sure I can find them. When you're done viewing your negatives, remember to go back into your phone and turn off that Classic Invert mode. Well, I have a ton of negatives that I need to go through. While I'm working on these, why don't you take a look at one of the videos that's popping up on your screen right now? Happy researching!